What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for March 4th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast. It is Tuesday. That means it's time for a little motivation and positivity. And today our quote comes from Ryan Holiday, originally credited to Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. You might remember him from the movie Gladiator. But the quote is, "The obstacle in the path becomes the path." And I love this quote. And we all face obstacles throughout our life. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, what your race, ethnicity, gender, socioeconomic status. We all face obstacles. And to me, we talk a lot about this on Tuesdays, but it's all about how you choose to deal with them. And you can completely fold and crumble, take a different path, whatever it is, or you can tackle them head on. And I like to think of it, instead of using it as a roadblock, use it as an opportunity to grow and move forward and learn how to be a better person. Be resilient. I talked a couple months ago about what we do with our kids in school and the 4Bs, and being resilient is one of them. And a lot of times it's easy to just give up, turn the other way, and abandon whatever path you were on, abandon whatever your dream is. But there's always an opportunity to grow. There's always an opportunity to get better. So embrace the challenge, embrace the roadblock, embrace that obstacle that's in your path, and create a new path. That, like the quote says, that then becomes the path. Be better, embrace it, and become better. So many times people give up because things get tough, and they'll take another path and maybe not be as happy on that path. Sure, it might be easier. Sure, it might get you some of the things you need, but are you ever truly going to be happy if you don't face that obstacle head on? So the quote today, "The obstacle in the path becomes the path." Embrace those obstacles, embrace the challenge, use them as opportunities to get better and continue to move forward, and don't give up so easily. I think that is the main takeaway today. Don't give up on things easily. Continue to fight for what you want and move past that obstacle and make it become part of your path. And then you can look back and be like, damn, look at how far I come. So the obstacle becomes the path, from Ryan Holiday via Marcus Aurelius. So hopefully you can take that throughout your weeks this week and just become just a little bit better. All right, some quick housekeeping notes before we get into the meat of the episode. Just a reminder, Friday through Tuesday, I will be in Clearwater. There will be episodes. I don't know what it's going to look like as far as posting times and things like that, but we will be here. Haven't missed a day since September of 2022 when this thing started. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Continue to spread the word. Also on Instagram, @PhillyJimbo. And just like I said, let's outsmart the algorithm. Good things have been happening. It's a slow burn, grassroots, however you want to call it. But continue to get the word out there. The Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame ballot is out. You have a chance to win 2 VIP tickets to the event in November at Live Casino. All you have to do is click on the link in the description, fill out your ballot, and if it most closely matches the actual induction class, you will win those 2 free tickets to the ceremony in November at Live Casino. I did include PDF for the write-ups and the bios especially for some of the legacy folks. But go check that out for your chance to win 2 VIP tickets to the ceremony in November. All right. Oh, and then, of course, as always, don't forget to check out our friends at onpattison.com. Great Philly sports coverage. Newsletter will be delivered to your inbox every day. Great, specifically for the Phillies, and we're featured in there a couple times a week. They're doing great things over there, so go check out onpattison.com. All right, Sixers, back to their losing ways, thankfully. 119-102. It was a good loss. No Paul George, no Kelly Oubre. Tyrese Maxey did leave with a back contusion in the second half. Not sure what it becomes of that, but better be cautious with it and just set him for the rest of the season, as they're looking to secure one of those top 6 picks. Top six picks. It'd be much easier to say if they were a top 5, but I digress. But a quick standings update, they're 2.5 out of the play-in tournament, currently tied with the Nets for that 6th spot. So hopefully they can continue on their losing ways and get back into the lottery discussion. Flyers back in action tonight in South Philly at the Wells Fargo Center. They take on the Calgary Flames, looking for their 6th straight game with a point as they're slowly creeping up the wild card standings. We'll have that updated after tonight's game. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. So be sure to check out the Flyers tonight against the Flames. Phils are also back in action today after having an off day. Not a whole lot coming out of spring training. Sometimes that is a good thing. We do have some Eagles news, and I don't think this is a surprise based on some of the discussions he said and just sort of where his mindset was. But the Eagles will be releasing Darius Slay. It will count post. I don't know how if they're cutting him now, I don't know how they can make it after June 1st, but whatever. But it will give them a ton of salary cap relief for this year. Could still come back and sign a cheaper deal with the Eagles. Said basically he only wants to play for Philly or Detroit. I could see Detroit bringing him back home. But again, I don't think this is a surprise. Darius Slay, though, he grew on me. And as you know, if you listen to this podcast, really did not like a lot of the times where a team would lose and he would point out how well he played. But I do think over time, slowly became one of my favorites. He was a good mentor for the young guys this year. Super Bowl champion. I think we still remember all of the guys that win championships here with a lot of love and reverence, and basically because we don't win them that often. But Darius Slay, I think, will be remembered as one of those guys. But what do you think? He did, like I said, he had those moments where he would point out his stats in an Eagles loss where it's like, dude, read the room. But overall, I think he was a good player. I don't want to get into the rankings all time in defensive backs because we've had a lot of good ones here. I think I slightly put him ahead of somebody. I don't know. He was a good guy, good, solid player for us. And I can't think of the guy's name. That's why I'm drawing a blank. Number 22, Asante Samuel. I kind of would put him a little bit above Asante Samuel because he won a championship, but I don't really want to get into that because he is a Super Bowl champion. He and his wife did a lot for the community in Philly. If this is the last time we're going to see Darius Slay, thank you for the Super Bowl championship. I don't know. I mean, he did come up with a lot of big plays, not maybe as many as I would have liked him to, but he was a key component last year on that Super Bowl winning team. So if this is it for Darius Slay in Philadelphia, Darius, thank you. We all appreciate what you and Jennifer have done for the community, what you have done for the Eagles, and we'll see how free agency plays out. But that does lead to today's question of the day. And if Slay, or now that Slay is released, who's going to be QB or cornerback number 2 next year? Do they re-sign Slay on a cheaper deal? Will he sign, depending on what they offer him? Are they going to put Keely Ringo in there? Will they re-sign Isaiah Rodgers? Do they slide Cooper DeJean over? Who do you think takes over that QB, or I keep saying QB, CB2 spot next to Q? Let me know your thoughts. 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off your chest. But Slay, we salute you. Thank you for your time here in Philly. We truly, truly appreciate it. And then that does lead to the recap of yesterday's question of the day. And yesterday's question of the day, I asked you, would you include Nolan Smith in a trade for Myles Garrett? 64% of you said no. And I told you I was on the fence. And if you were in the no, kind of convinced me that way. Nobody really had a compelling reason why they didn't want him in there. However, the yeses made some good sense. Kyle from Philly said he's the best defensive player. You put him next to the guys they already have, he's going to make that defensive line trouble. Could win you at least one, maybe multiple Super Bowls. I had Manny from Philly check in and said, I don't know if I'd check in, get rid of Nolan Smith, but I might include Nakobe Dean. And I think, I don't know about that if you're not going to re-sign Zach Bond. And then Kyle from Coatesville checks in and says, depends on which picks you get, but you're probably not going to sign Nolan Smith when his contract is up. And this is a very compelling argument. There's going to be a lot of money tied up in Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, as well as Quinyon Mitchell. It kind of leaves Nolan Smith as the odd person out. So if you can get rid of him and make the price right, bring in Myles Garrett and slam through that window, stick the 2x4 in to keep it open. But thank you as always for participating in the question of the day. Today's question though, who's going to be the cornerback on the other side of Quinyon Mitchell? Is it going to be Keely Ringo, Isaiah Rodgers, Cooper DeJean, or do they bring back Darius Slay? All right, be sure to check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Lots of good things going on with their sports fan network. Go to clashingconferences.com to see what they have to offer and how you can get involved, but doing great things over there. Likely we'll have an announcement within the next week or so about them. And then, of course, Philly Goat. St. Paddy's Day is less than 2 weeks away now at this point. They got you covered for St. Paddy's Day gear too, because of course they do. Go check out Philly Goat. Look at their St. Paddy's Day collection, as well as the championship collection, the shoes. They got lots of great things happening over at Philly Goat right now. I can't even do it justice. Go to the site, check it out, but it's not too late to still get your St. Paddy's gear. So go check out what they have to offer and be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, so for today, we're going to have kind of a double shot. And if you see me kind of stumbling over my words right now and kind of looking around frantically, I lost my notes for the Women's Big Five Hall of Fame. So we're going to have to do two tomorrow. I literally cannot find it on my desk. I have no idea where it went. So we're just going to do two tomorrow. So I do apologize for that, but we'll do that tomorrow. But today we're going to do a double shot. Two very opposite ends of the spectrum and different events happened today. First, we're going to go back to 1944. And on this day in 1944, the Phillies announced that they would become the Blue Jays. Elizabeth Cooks won a naming contest that the team ran. Blue Jays, I think there were 6 or 7 folks that put Blue Jays in as their name. Elizabeth Cooks got the nod. She won a $100 war bond. And it was an attempt to sort of draw some interest in the team under the new ownership group. This is when the Carpenters came in and bought the team, as well as to kind of cleanse the losing mentality that the Phillies had. They were always the losing Phils, or just a negative connotation with the Phillies. They never made the Blue Jays, though, their official name, and still had Phillies on their front of their jerseys. They just had a Blue Jay on the patch and a Blue Jay on the cap. But it just never really caught on, I think in part because it was never the official name change, and they kept Phillies on their jerseys anyway. So it was dropped by the 1950 season. But for a couple seasons, the Phillies were unofficially the Philadelphia Blue Jays, despite having Phillies still across their chest. And then in 1990, it was a sad day. On this day, Hank Gathers died after collapsing on the court during the West Coast Conference Semi-Finals. Gathers was a Philly native, Dobbins Tech grad, went to USC before transferring to Loyola Marymount, where he played for another Philly legend, Paul Westhead. Gathers led the country in scoring and rebounding in the 1988-89 season. He was an All-American for that 1990 season, but unfortunately never got to see it through. Had a something with I forget the specific name of what he had, but something with his heart, and he was on medication and was starting to wean off the medicine because he didn't like the way it made him feel. And unfortunately, he did collapse in the West Coast Conference semifinals. Loyola Marymount, though, did make the tournament that year. They canceled the rest of the tournament, but since they had won the regular season, they got the automatic bid. Hank Gathers was a notoriously bad free throw shooter. Started shooting with his left hand, had a little bit of success with that. Bo Kimball, another Philly guy, and Hank Gathers' best friend, in honor of Hank Gathers during the Loyola Marymount tournament run, first free throw of every game he shot left-handed to honor him, made all three in all three of Loyola Marymount's game. Captivated the nation. I remember rooting for them. They ended up losing to UNLV that year, I believe in the Elite Eight. But a Philly legend gone too soon. They retired his number at Loyola Marymount. There's a statue out there. There's the Hank Gathers Community Center on, I believe it's Diamond Street in Philly, to honor him. But Hank Gathers gone too soon on this day in 1990. What could have been just a great player, all around great guy. The biography that Bo Kimball wrote about Hank Gathers, For You, Hank, I'm pointing over there because it's still on my shelf today, really tells the story of just how great of a guy Hank Gathers was. But on this day, gone too soon, Hank Gathers passed away, and man, what could have been. Just a dominant player in college, good scorer, good rebounder, took it to Shaquille O'Neal when they were in college, really wasn't afraid of him, took it to him and played well against him, but he passed away on this day in 1990. 1944, the Phillies changed their name to the Blue Jays, lasted for a few years before officially just never catching on and going back to the Phils. But the Philadelphia Blue Jays, that was the team in the late 40s. I will have 2 double shots of Women's Big Five Hall of Fame tomorrow. I apologize for not being prepared. Just lots going on preparing for Florida between my day job. Lots going on there as well. So I do apologize for that. We'll have 2 Big Five Hall of Fame spotlights tomorrow. And this has nothing to do with the fact that I believe today was a St. Joe's focus. I promise. Did not do that on purpose, but we'll have both of them tomorrow. Be sure to let me know who you think is going to be the Eagles' second cornerback next to Quinyon Mitchell. Do they re-sign Slay? Is it going to be Keeley, Isaiah, Coop? Somebody's got to do it. So let me know who you think it is. We'll have more on the Flyers, Sixers, and Phillies tomorrow, as well as any breaking Eagles news that we have. And don't forget about those back-to-back Big Five Women's Hall of Fame. I can't believe I did that. First time in over 2 years, I've completely just lost the note sheet that I need it. So just goes to show I'm like Anchorman. I can't do anything without my notes. Remember, the obstacle in the path becomes the path. Don't give up. Take the obstacles head on and continue to drive forward. Don't give up and keep fighting for what you want. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for March 4th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.